Raise a Vibration with another author interview. And I am so excited to bring you somebody I have known for quite some time. We have known each other since we were kids. I know her brothers, her whole family. And I'm just so excited for you to meet her because she is an extraordinary person. She wrote one of the stories for the book. Cool. Hi!
Hi!
It's so great having you on here.
I know.
Hello. I'm already seeing
friend.
some Brookharts, and I'm seeing Rob on here already. So excited.
Really? Oh, my parents did it. Yay.
Well done. Mold and Dold, right?
Mold and Dold.
I love that you have nicknames for your parents. I think that is so fun.
Doesn't everybody?
Well, some aren't so nice though, sometimes. So I love how cute this is, like Mold and Dold. Tell us a little bit about that first, just because we're going to get into this in a sec.
About Mold and Dold.
Yeah, because people are like,
what?
You
know very well.
I do, and I've known since I was.
I've known Anne Margaret for how many years?
Let's not go there, Erica.
A long time.
A long time. Yeah.
Everybody has nicknames. I name my cars. I name my surfboard.
Yeah.
I name everything. But Dold was Dole Day in the 70s, and then to Dold, and so unfortunately Mold got the name Mold.
Well, I'm sure she takes it in stride. Your mama is so awesome.
She loves it.
That's awesome. Well, I just want to introduce you to everybody who doesn't know you, who's watching or is watching this in replay. Erica Brookhart is coming from LA, right? Or you're Santa Monica? Santa Monica? Yeah, I thought so.
Part of the story.
Yeah, part of the story. And yeah, she comes from such a beautiful family. I mean, I had the biggest crush on your brother growing up. Arby is just was one of my best buddies. We would hang out all the time at the pool, and just such a special place in my heart for him and your whole family. And even my sister and Arby had a little wedding that we did this whole crazy thing. And if you don't know what we're talking about, those of you who do understand, it was just a wild thing we did at the pool, Columbine. And but we grew up together. We grew up together.
We did.
Going to the same pool, knowing each other, and I am so excited that we've stayed in contact. I mean, after all these years, we're talking a lot of years. But
you sang at my wedding.
I sang at your wedding. Oh my God, it was so beautiful. It was such a gorgeous event. I'm so honored to have done that for you. Like, that was such a highlight. And what a guy you have, what a guy.
Also part of the story.
Yeah, also part of the story. I mean, the thing is that you've been somebody who's generated a lot of artwork, a lot of art in not work, but art in the world to honor different people in your life, and to also bring about just some extraordinary gifts in the world through your books or your films, like. And even the collaboration you did with your brother around the book, so cool, and just honoring your friend. And I came out for the film release in LA. That was a great memory too. We shared it together.
I forgot about that. You were there.
Yeah, I was there. I was so excited to be there. And so, I mean, Erica is honestly just an artist to the core. She has such a great story that she contributed to book Raise a Vibration, a weekly guide for alchemizing the human experience. That's the workbook that just was launched in New York City last month. And I can't believe it's almost August. Oh my gosh, tomorrow's August.
I know.
But I'm so glad that you're here. And I just want you to tell everybody a little bit about you and your story. Not the story you wrote in the book, but just your story in life. Like, what are you up to? How did you arrive where you are? And a little bit of background.
Okay. Erica Brookhart-Robinson is my name. I grew up in Littleton, Colorado with Anne Margaret and Laura Redding. And but I knew from a very young age that I belonged in Los Angeles. My whole family is, mountain, and I love the mountains. I love Denver, but I knew I needed the electricity. I needed the creative electric vibe of it was going to be New York or Los Angeles, and I know you get that.
I picked New York. You pick Los Angeles.
I know. I almost picked New York. But yeah, so I came out here in '97, It just started working as a dancer and touring and traveling and never looked back. I go back a lot, you know, I'm super close to my family. They come out and see me a lot. But yeah, this is where I belong. I live at the beach and got married, you know, 2 years ago, but we've been together for 11 years. So this is
Wow.
our home, and my cat's right there.
Ah,
He's a very
Zuko. Yeah, he's
Zuko.
gorgeous.
He'll
Named
probably make an
after?
appearance. Named after Danny Zuko, which is actually part of the story too, because I saw Grease in '77
Oh
and
my
was like,
gosh.
that's what I'm gonna do.
In the theater. And
In the
that was
movie
something,
theater.
yeah. And that was something
Yes.
that prompted your story of going to be a dancer or performer.
Yes.
I didn't know
Yes.
that. Very
Yeah. Oh
cool.
yeah. I was like, I saw Grease and I walked out of there and was like, that's what I'm gonna do.
Wow, very cool. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, and you haven't just, I mean, you haven't just been a performer. You also are a teacher of little kids too, right? You're
Yeah.
inspiring them. Will you tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, I am a choreographer. I was a dancer for years, touring, but then I, you know, started choreographing for musical theater and teaching kids dance from, you know, starting at age toddlers. So
So cute. So
yeah,
cute.
oh, it's so cute. It's like, hi, Flinner. I just saw
Ah,
my friend Flinner
yeah.
just.
I know we're seeing a bunch of people. Hi
I
guys. I
know,
didn't say
fun.
hello to anybody yet. I usually like wave at you and try and I just totally forgot about that. Hi guys. Thanks for joining us. I'm just having too much
That's
fun.
cool.
Like
I've never done
yeah.
this, but
I know,
okay.
isn't this crazy? And like you see people
Yeah.
popping on. Well, first of all, let's get into the story a little bit. I mean, with you and your life and how it's unfolded. I mean, even just knowing as much of you as I do, I know you could have picked a lot of different stories. Especially
Right.
around like everything that you went through with your friend and creating this beautiful documentary about her life and like wow, like that blew me away when I was able to see that film and just celebrate its
Thank you.
release with you. And so like I know you know what a big project is, you know, for something like this, a book to be
Yes.
put out in the world, like
Mhm.
you can appreciate that and it just feels like a baby you're kind of pushing out for years and then it's finally out and
Yes.
you're like oh God, okay, take a rest and move
Yes.
on a little bit, you know. But can you,
Mhm.
why this story? Because you could have picked so many other stories of adversity. And those of you who don't know about the book, it is 52 authors contributed their stories of resilience. So something that they went through, that they came through, and they realized, you know what, I wish I would have learned this lesson before I went through that, so they could pass that on to the reader. And the thought about this book, the idea came through right when the lockdown started in 2020, where you know we kind of get these nudges, like we get these little like drop-ins, downloads, and I thought, well, how can I help? You know, and I'm a teacher and I've been a spiritual advisor for many years, and I thought, what can I do? And I thought just get people to focus on their resilience. You know, we've been through so much already. Every single one of us has a story, and we were freaking out collectively for good reason. You know, it was a scary time. But that's what prompted this. So I reached out to a bunch of people that I know and admire and said, you know, you got a story you want to contribute. I didn't know it was going to be a book. There ended up being 50 authors that responded in addition
Yeah.
to Anthony and I. And I thought, like, okay, that's no coincidence. And so I thought,
Mhm.
well, what's the next step? Turn it into a weekly guide for alchemizing the human experience. So it just kind of I'm usually a blindfolded girl who just kind of like listens to the next step and take it. Like I never know where it's going.
Same.
You know, I know you know what I mean.
Yep.
It's like no,
Same.
you don't like have this big plan and you're like, oh yeah, that's where it's gonna. You just go, what's the next step? Okay, I'm
Yep.
gonna follow that. I listen to that and you know, I'm faithful in that way. So now that people kind of know about the book and what it is, can you tell us why this story? Why did you choose this one?
It's interesting that you brought up about you know, losing my best
Yeah,
friend. I thought immediately
Trish,
when
right?
you Trish,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
when you of course when you said, you know, something that was so hard in your life that you got through, of course I immediately thought, oh, I'm going to write about Trish and being there with her and going through this with her. But then I was like, I'm going to actually go with this other story because I think people can relate, because it's about being so far out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I was terrified, like immediately. You know, my story, just to give a little preface, is I was approached by who's now my business partner, to start a company, start a business, be an entrepreneur. And I was very excited, but the thought of business and, a
For the creative
company,
mind, it's like, oh
Excel
no.
spreadsheets, and I'm like, I was so far. I panicked, and it was, a turning point in my life because of that, and I finally realized that it was all perception. How I perceived it as this. I'm gonna have to give up my carefree lifestyle and become a businesswoman,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. I didn't have to give anything up. In fact, I just put my passion and my purpose together and pivoted and took a leap of faith. And I thought, people could, relate to that. Just, not being in fear and not perceiving it as something that's going to hold you back.
Yeah, beautiful. I think that this is something that we sometimes invalidate about ourselves with our own stories is, so many people invalidate what they're struggling with because they see something else in the world that looks harder that somebody else is facing, be it
Right.
poverty or cancer or losing somebody a lot of different things that we witness in the world that we think are just the worst possible scenarios. And then we
Mhm.
invalidate our own journey because ours is
Yeah.
not equating to that. And I think what's so beautiful about choosing this particular story,
Did you hear
yes, who was that?
Zuko?
Oh, she was, I think your cat was giving me an amen, really.
I think
Amen.
so. That's so funny. Oh my God.
That was awesome. She's like definitely committed to being on this
Oh,
video
for
for sure.
sure, for sure.
But I mean, it's really important that whatever we're facing, it might seem small to other people, or we might even be judging it in a very self-sabotaging way that it's not a big
Yeah.
challenge. And then
Hmm.
we don't understand we're not embracing or owning our own experience that nobody else can know but us. No one could be in your shoes,
Right.
Erica, but you, and likewise, right?
Mhm.
It's something that we're moving through, whatever we're moving through, and to honor that for ourselves, that ends up giving space for other people to go through what they're going through rather than staying in that judgmental place where we're really
Mhm.
separated from one another. And your story you called, and I've got the book finally, so I can like show it. But the book,
Yeah.
creating a new reality, and this, where is it? Self-sabotage is the theme that I chose for you for that week
Mhm.
because you know, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been working for myself since I was 22. Like
Right.
it's something
Same.
that like is oh yeah, it's something that I've always wanted to do and have the freedom of creating how I want to create. And that's not been an easy road. But any entrepreneur will validate that 10 times over. It's
Yeah.
it's very attractive to want that, but it's another thing to actually live it day in and day
Mhm.
out. And I love this idea that you could have completely self-sabotaged and you tried, and that's what's cool about the story is people get to,
Right.
and I'm anxious for the authors to read, or the readers to read
Readers.
this because the readers to read it,
Yeah.
because they can really see that you almost didn't go that route.
I almost did. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah, and I want
actually
you to,
pulled
yeah,
out, and
I want you to talk
yeah,
about that. Like, tell us about, without giving away the whole story, obviously. But tell us a little bit about that, and like, what do you want the readers to take away? Because somebody might be watching this right now or reading, going through the workbook, and the whole point of the book
mhm.
is, stand on our shoulders, like learn from our mistakes or what we almost didn't do or what we failed at, and so that people
Mhm.
were all supporting one another, that they can succeed and not self-sabotage. So, what do you want them to take away?
Right. I guess basically just I go back to perception, because you can make your life what you want it. Like, that's whatever you do is not going to dictate who you are. You
Yeah.
dictate who you are. And
Oh, yeah.
it's just a perception. So I my perception of it from in the beginning was, I can't do this. I can't I can't be a businesswoman, and I won't be able to travel. I won't be able to dance. I won't be able to perform. I mean, my mind was racing and I was terrified. And so I actually left the company, and, you know, it kind of morphed into this, wait, I'm doing this anyway. I'm teaching kids anyway. Like, I can do this and I don't have to give up other parts of my life. I can do it all, which is the passion and the purpose.
I love it.
I talked with my friend Katie about this the other night at dinner. She said, because she's doing a pivot and a life transition. And, she said, there's passion and there's purpose. And I thought, but you can do both, your passion and your purpose, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
still, the company is, teaching children dance. And so I'm still choreographing, I'm still giving that gift to the kids, and I'm still creative, and I'm using my little students for a children's TV series that I started.
Oh
And
my
so
God.
it's all the same. It's all the same. It's not, I didn't transition to become a businesswoman. I just morphed
Yeah.
it, I guess.
Well, yeah, and you brought things together. I think that that's really where we find our
Mhm.
our life of passion and purpose, as you say, is bringing together the parts of us that we really that light us up. And too many
Right.
people are in this space of doing something because it's what they should do or expected of
Make
them, or it's
money.
secure, right? Making money and
Mhm.
and securing something that's going to be a lifelong security, and we never have that guarantee. It doesn't, especially now with companies' loyalty, it just doesn't exist anymore like it existed 40 years ago, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, and this idea of perspective, I love that you use that word because that's what came up for me when I was reading your story over and over again. And your chakra, I linked, it's a workbook, so I use the story to prompt a journaling meditation for you, the reader, going through it, so that you can personalize the wisdom of each author and what they're giving you and apply it to
Right.
your life, rather than just be like, oh, what a great story, and entertained by it.
Right. It
It
can
is
be like, that happened to me. Like,
yeah,
I
and
felt
like,
the
how do
same
I,
way.
yes, yeah,
It's
exactly,
panicking. It's panicking about, like, will I have a retirement? Just,
right.
your mind just goes there, but you can make your life whatever. Well, that's what it's called, creating your own reality.
Yeah,
You create it.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be what somebody says it is.
Right. Well, if that's the thing, is if you're not creating it or co-creating it with the unknown or with God, the divine, whatever you want to give that name, like if you're not actively creating, somebody else's, like, somebody
Right.
else's, you're living
Exactly.
somebody else's life,
Exactly. It's so
Uh,
true. It's
so
so
I
true.
matched your story with the third eye, which is that vision place, that perspective place, the place that we
Hmm.
interpret what's happening, interpreting our reality, interpreting the circumstance. That's a scary
Yes.
thing. You took that circumstance and you thought, you know what, this is an opportunity for me to expand. It's not an opportunity for me to
Hmm.
compromise who I am and go into this new identity that I don't want to be. And
Right.
because you're able to be in that and see that through that higher seeing place of the third eye, or the the brow chakra is what we talk about. It's a place where we use our intuition and higher seeing place to um, yeah, we go to a higher perspective so we can see it all kind of playing out. I know, like going to
Hmm.
hockey games, like if you sit right by the ice, you see like the
Yeah.
fights and everything is exciting, but you don't see how the plays unfold. And like up at the nosebleed
Hmm.
section, where I usually would sit
Yeah.
growing up, like you'd see all the plays unfold, and that's this third
Hmm.
eye perspective. So I mean,
Right.
people who are reading your story, I think that is one of the key things that you're sharing too, is like when you're in an uncomfortable position, see if you can zoom out a little bit,
Uh-huh.
and see,
Let it
like,
play out.
let it play out, trust the
Yeah.
unfolding.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, and trust
And
yourself.
it's trust. That is my mantra. Just
Yeah.
trust, and it works. And I say it all the time. And it also, and another important part of the story to mention is, around that time when I decided, okay, this is actually a good thing. This is an opportunity.
Yeah.
That actually carried over into my relationships, because when I was touring and being fancy free, it was always, dating somebody I met in England, or, just
Right.
unavailable,
Yeah.
and just not wanting to make the commitment, and then once I decided, you know, I can make it my own reality, I met Rob. And you know, like I was always afraid of commitment. And then I was like, wait, this is awesome. And so around it carried over into my relationships, and committing to something, you know, and that's
That's
also
amazing.
perception, you know. I
You,
didn't want to be tied down,
yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
not tied down. I'm the opposite of tied
Well,
down. You
I
know.
think, yeah, exactly. And you're free. Like that's the thing is like with
Hmm.
artists, there needs to be a certain level of freedom, and we all have the artist within us. It's not like the artists, like those weirdos, but we
Total.
all we all have that artist within us, and the artist strives for freedom and understanding of interpreting the world, and we
Hmm.
all have that part of us. And
Yes.
one of the key driving forces for that is freedom, freedom from the stuckness of emotion, being able to process that
Hmm.
or express it in some way, and then also just being free to be alive. And one of the
Yeah.
shadow aspects of that artist archetype is never settling down, never putting roots down, and never having the
Hmm.
structure to feel
Right.
free within. And I think it's what a beautiful blessing, like a hidden blessing for your story of saying yes to this unknown, taking the leap of faith with the business, and then you
Yeah.
find your beautiful partner.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's my life is better now than it was then when I was, you know, free or footloose and fancy
Right.
free. Like
Right.
it's better because then you know, the kids TV series came out of it, and just all of it. And the dance studio made it through COVID.
Which is
It's
a
just, it's
miracle. Yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah,
Yeah. And my
amazing.
business partner is one of my closest friends, and she just persevered, and we did it.
What's her name?
Tanya.
Tanya. Hello, Tanya. Thanks for being
Tanya.
such a rock star.
Yes, yeah, she doesn't even know
Oh
that she's in
man.
the story. So I'm going to take her the
Oh.
book when I see her. So
Oh,
yeah.
how cool. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
exciting. Okay, well, I
Yeah.
have one more question for you because
Okay.
you wrote your story, and I appreciate everybody's been watching. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Story writing, storytelling is an ancient practice, and this is how we would pass on wisdom from the elders to the younger tribe,
Hmm.
younger parts of our tribe, or whatever. And we would share our stories not only to pass on wisdom, but to process trauma or difficult things. And storytelling is so powerful. And every one of the authors who wrote a story went through a journey. And what's really cool was not on my idea, by the way. It was Zia's who authored the foreword for the book. She's an amazing friend of mine. She was like, "Hey, I think we should put some blank pages in the end, for the reader to author their own story." And I thought, of course, like
Love
that's
it.
so brilliant, right?
Love it.
So we
Yeah.
have some pages
Genius.
at the end for the readers once they kind of go through the book or whenever they're ready to write their own story. So I want you
Hmm.
just to share what that
Love it.
process was like for you, and why we would have done that, why we would have put the pages in the book for that.
To fill the pages. I'm a person that when I get an idea, I write it down, just words and stuff. And so I have all my words right here, you know, like I'll wake up in the middle of the night and
Yeah.
freedom, perception. I write it down. And so I think, you know, if they're reading this book and, oh my God, that happened to me, write it down.
Yeah.
Oh, that also happened. You know, it triggers
Mm-hmm.
things, and
Mm-hmm.
you write it down, and then it's a thing. If it's on
Yeah.
paper, if it's on your hard drive,
It's out of your
it's a
brain
thing.
too, like so you don't have to hold
Right.
it in your
It's out
brain.
there,
Yeah.
and it becomes an idea, and it manifests into something, a story, which is what documentaries are, which is, I have a children's book series. They're ideas that I wrote it down, becomes a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a source of manifestation. It's just putting pen to paper. And that's different from like
Yes.
typing in our computer, right? I mean, that's something too. If it works for you, it works for you. But I find also to get outside of well, now we have fancy tools for drawing on our computers and stuff. I'm not quite there yet, but
No, I'm all
you know,
about writing it
yeah.
down,
Me
like
too.
writing
Me
it
too.
down, because you can
And yeah,
lose your hard drive. You can, you know,
right.
the
It can
you can get
crash.
hacked. You know, just anything. Yeah, it can crash. But if it's written, if it's here, this exists.
And there's something about holding it too. Like, I mean, I
Hmm.
love that the
Like
book
a book.
is a tangible book, right? You know, we do have the
Hmm.
e-version coming out and the Audible eventually, but this is, you know, you have lines to document what your experience is in relationship to
Hmm.
everything you're going through, and that helps to process what you're going through. And you know, a lot of the authors have
Right.
talked about like in writing the story and writing their story, they are able to kind of understand when you do that, it's like pieces of the puzzle of you coming
Yes.
together and understanding why you might be the way that you are, why you have the drives that you do. And anytime we go through something that's really tough, it's like, are we going to survive this? Like, are we going to make it through? And we get to the other side and we go,
Right.
oh my gosh, I just found another piece of me that I would have never had I not gone through that adversity.
Right. Adversity. That's a good word. How you deal
Yeah.
with adversity is everything,
Yeah, and I mean
you
that's
know?
what every single story, including yours, is about. Something that came up to challenge you, adversity, and you
Hmm.
overcame, and you had the
Yes.
courage to let go of all the fear that was around it.
Let go of the fear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people do make decisions, just they just continue to live in fear and just won't take that because, oh, maybe I won't make enough money. Maybe I won't have a retirement, just all the
Yeah.
things, and letting go of the fear and trusting
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
everything. The
Yeah.
universe will provide if you're
That's
doing your
I
purpose
mean,
and,
that's the point of faith too. That's the point of faith is it's like
yeah.
it's a verb like to have faith, to flex the muscle of faith. It's a
Hmm.
practice that actually helps to visualize with that third eye that
Right.
this is possible. It might not show up exactly, it never shows up exactly how you
No,
plan.
it's,
Let's
it's
face it,
not going to
right?
be how you never.
Never.
But who knew that I would, was going to start this children's book series? It was inspired by one of my students,
Uh,
and so it triggers and then it becomes bigger than anything you ever could
yeah.
imagine,
Yeah,
you know?
and then you've got like with Rob and the dimensions of blessings that you don't expect when you actually just
Yes.
keep going because that's I think that's the big thing for our readers to take away from your story is that if you are in a position where you feel like oh this is too big, I think it was oh yeah it was uh Major Tom who is that singer
Major time.
yeah to ground control
Oh, David Bowie?
Thank you, David Bowie. I was like, I can't think of his name,
Major Tom,
but
Major Tom.
I know, I'm like, oh, it's a ground control, and I was gonna
Yeah.
start singing it. But he said something like, if you're as an artist, which we're all the artists of being alive, we're creating
Hmm.
our
Yeah.
realities, and that if you are comfortable, you're dead in the water. Like if you're not in that place in your life of going,
Hmm.
now it doesn't mean you have to be in the dangling carrot pattern of never-ending dissatisfaction, not that at all, but falling in
Right.
love with getting outside your comfort zone to see what else you could create or what else is
Right.
possible. And he
Hmm.
said, like, you always want to be in that place of just feeling a little bit fraudulent, feeling like this is a little too big.
Right.
And that's the excitement. It's like standing on the diving board, right, at Columbine. You're like that high dive, and you're like,
I dive. I wonder I wonder if Arby signed in.
oh my God, he was a sick diver. Like he just
Oh, he
fearless,
would go off
flip, flip,
cliffs
and
skiing and not knowing what was on the other side. Talk
yeah.
about a
Oh,
risk taker.
not
Woo!
me, man. I was like, am I gonna hit my head on the diving board?
That's the leap of faith, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's so awesome having you on here and just always
Thank
connecting to
you.
you because I just adore you so much. Thank you so much for
Oh,
being a
you
part of this
too.
book.
Thank you. Of course. Thanks for asking me.
Absolutely. I'm just still shocked that everybody said yes and just contributed
Of
such beautiful
course.
wisdom.
Who's
I
gonna
mean,
say no?
I
I
know, right?
mean, it was like something that had to be written.
Yeah, well, that was something I didn't expect was the authors sharing about how therapeutic it was to write their story, and that
Yeah.
was like awesome. Like that's so great. That was the purpose of kind of
Hmm.
having everybody focus on that. So thank you so
Yeah.
much,
Thank
and thank you
you.
for everybody who's been watching. Hi guys.
Yeah. Hi,
Again, I'm Ann
Rach.
Margaret with Raise Vibration. You guys are so awesome. I want to also ask you before we let you go is for the people who don't know you personally who are watching this, how do they find you and all of the incredible products that you've created, the projects you're
Oh,
currently involved in? How do they find
I
you?
guess it would be, thank you. Shameless plug. My website. It's all because I have a children's book series. I have the
That's the hub that kind of has
children's.
everything that you can.
Yeah, my
Okay.
website and the documentary about my best friend Trish.
Gotta see that.
It's ericabrin.com. ERICA, B as in boy, RYN as in Nancy.com.
Is that's your middle name?
Bryn.
I don't know. I know it
Yeah.
was Ramsey Bowen. Do you guys all have B names for your middle name?
No, Tyler's Cody.
Oh man, got odd man out, huh?
Total. Well, he named his son Cody, so that's kind of
Oh, he did. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Awesome. Well, thanks again so much. And those of you who want to check out the book or purchase it, you can go to raisethevibration.com. That's our website. And then
amazing book. Amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so excited. There. And it's an adult coloring book. So those of you who are into that, those of you who are like, no, not interested.
Mold
you can
is
actually
into that.
You can cut. Oh, she is? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. So yeah, you can color the book and just like enjoy that and just process in your own way. But thank you so much again, my dear. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And everybody, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, keep raising the vibration. Bye, everybody.